out here today trying to find some beds. As you can tell, it's pretty flat ground, thousands of acres of unbroken timber. Pretty much looks just like this. I found a nice section of rubs a couple weeks back, a couple 100 yards to my left. I'm thinking it might be a staging area, but I'm not sure. So I'm gonna come in here and see if I can find some beds. There's just way too many rubs in a small little section for there not to be a reason. Like I said, it's not a funnel by any means. It's not a rub line or anything. It's just something's telling me there's some beds over there. I just need to get lucky and find them. I got Kayla here with me. She actually is pretty good at finding beds for some reason. She always ends up sitting in them. So let me get a move on, see if I can't get lucky. Well, stumbled upon some doe beds. I got 3 smaller beds, really nice beds, get used a lot. There's a lot of hair in here, but there's a bed here, there's one right over there, and there's one right over there. You know, see all the hair. This is getting used definitely a lot. You got fresh droppings all around. So I'll, as you can tell, the swamp, I'll mark this area, but it's all these beds are down to dirt, really getting used. This stump is actually they're resting their back against the stump. Here I am, sick as a dog. I'm out here. Oh, no rest for the wicked. What they'll do in this scenario is northwest wind is pretty much coming from right to left. You know, pretty much almost, you know, yeah, right to left. So these deer will come in, J-hook from downwind in the morning, and pretty much come up through all of this, rest here with the wind rolling over their back and watching their back trail. Being that it's a doe bedding area, it's not as critical, but it's still critical, especially these older mature does. Each one of these does will be facing a different direction. The big doe will probably face in the back trail, and her yearling from last year, year before, they'll all be facing in different directions. So they're pretty much covered, almost under any wind, but they more than likely will almost always come in downwind of this, be it a south wind or however it might be. So I'm gonna mark this on my GPS and maybe sneak in here. Hunt the swamps, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Knee deep in water. Raked over my boots. Get some. Oh yeah, it's a fun time. What'd you do today? I don't know. Spend some time in the swamp, looking for deer that don't exist. Oh, good Lord. I need to find a new hobby. Why have you forsaken me? This is no joke. Over both my boots. Kayla got stuck in the mud. I had to go back and get her, and I just sunk up to my knees. It's so cold. But I got to where I think these deer are bedded, where I thought they might be bedded. And sure enough, as always, Kayla's sitting in the bed. As you can see, all the droppings here. And Caleb's basically standing right in the bed. This bed's pretty good size. It's probably 48 inches across. He's facing this way in this general direction. The bed is shaped in a little moon shape. So his back's this way and he's looking that way. Northwest wind is blowing this way. So he's gonna loop in around here. There's probably a trail over there with scrapes or rubs. I can almost guarantee it. He's gonna loop in here for the morning and sit. Northwest wind kind of blowing this way. Watch his back trail and smell anything that dares come through there. But all that droppings, all the poop is right over here, so I'm assuming he's headed this way, and that is the direction of all those rubs I found. So I'm gonna try and get through this swamp, through his rubs, or maybe I can find his trail that he's using. Come on. I just got to the area with all the rubs. I don't know if you can see a little one there. There's one here, but there's about 15 or 20 decent rubs in this location. That bed is about 50 yards away, so this possibly could be a staging area for that buck coming up out of this bed. Northwest wind kind of blowing in this direction. He's been in that bed all day. He can pretty much smell anything that's in front of him. There's a small, I guess, hill. It's only about 10 foot. It's about 50 yards, 50 by 100, like an oval shape, and it gets real low into the swamp here. So he's coming up here in the evening. Northwest wind, or even a west wind, northeast wind, thermal pull plus the wind. He's pretty much safe heading this direction. By the time he gets to here, it's probably right around dark. Hypothetically speaking, of course. There's really no guaranteed that he's going to do this, but this is my estimated guess. There's a few trees, as you can tell, you can get up in. The trick, I gotta get on an off wind, more west, northwest, because northwest is no good. If I get somewhere back in here, I might be able to get a crack at him. Now, this spot be tough to hunt, as the only other access route I got is a good 1.5 mile walk. Parking lot, you go here, it's way down there. I don't know if anybody cuts through here. I haven't seen much human sign, so that's a plus. Swamp hunting's tough, but enjoyable. I'm gonna poke around here, look for a tree, or maybe a possible ground location. Might be the best bet. Sneak in somewhere over here, the west, northwest wind, and there's thermals. If I time it just right, getting set up, I won't make too much noise. I can get really close to those beds, and the thermal should pretty much take my scent and pull it down into this, low-lying part of the swamp. As you can tell, got some rub there, rub there. There's a bunch in that direction. So my original thought, how he was using this bed, is the rubs are indicating that is a possibility. Not concrete proof, because there is some rubs headed in the bed's direction. Maybe it's some rut bedding, like that late morning. He's coming in there to hang out, to recharge his batteries before he gets up and move again. Either way, it's a good sign. There's plenty of areas for me to hunt this particular location. So now I have a possible entrance and exit here. Now I need to go on the other side of the bed and see if I can find an entrance / exit. So I came up out of his bed. Is pretty much about 70 yards, give or take, in this direction. Coming up a solid piece of high ground. There's actually a little, tail part of that hill. It's about 10 foot of elevation or so, and I think I might have found his entrance to his bed, possibly. There's actually a scrape line that pretty much runs from up here down into here. Here's the last scrape. There's Kayla standing in it. But I can tell it's got pretty solid licking branches. That it's a scrape line. This is the scrape here. In that direction that Kayla's at. There's 2 more in that direction. So what I'm thinking he's doing, or could be doing sometimes, is, right at that gray light, last week of October, sneaking up along the scrape line, checking this scrape line, going down the swamp and looping into his bed. I said that's just my guess. Nothing's definite, but I got a couple trees over here that's a possibility. Northwest wind blowing in my face, even a west wind. Probably even due north too. I could probably set this. All in all, a good day. I'm pretty excited. Not too many times you find beddings in swamps like that, especially in thousands of acres. So I'm gonna poke around here a little bit more and try and get a plan of attack. Well, to recap the morning, it's a big wood setting, thousands of acres of unbroken timber, a lot of low-lying swamp, and scrub oaks and pines. No ag within miles. This area is heavily baited and hunted, a good section of it. I did locate 3 bait piles on the way out, which should be a non-factor for me. They were good 200 to 300 yards from where I plan on being. But the particular spot I was at this morning, I located a bunch of rubs a few weeks back, which got me thinking, why are these rubs there? There's really no rhyme or reason, no funnels, any type of bottlenecks. So I went in there this morning and dissected the swamp in a grid pattern. I stumbled 2 bedding areas. One was a definite buck bed, as there was a rub coming out, and another was where some does are bedded. There's probably 3 to 5 does bedding in one area. Tore down the dirt, so buck bedding plus doe bedding is always a good sign. I did locate an entry trail. It was a massive scrape line. It ran for a couple hundred yards, so I'm thinking that could be his entrance. But like I said, it's all just a estimated guess. But I need to bring my stand back here and actually get up in the trees I picked out and make sure I have clear shooting lanes. It's going to be up close and personal, probably 15 yards or less, about 10-15 foot off the ground. So I'm excited. I love big woods. They're so challenging.
deer feed pretty much wherever they want and pretty much walk wherever they want. So odds are this spot will be a disaster. It might take me a few years to figure out how these deer are using it, but I got a good idea how they might be using it. So let me head on home, warm up. Like I said, I kind of went over my boot. It's full of mud, which is exciting. My dog's covered in mud.